Welcome to the video and welcome to the review on SmartCrowd. I've had a number of people ask me about this one before, and so I thought I'd dig in and see what it's all about. If you're new to the channel, firstly, welcome. Take a seat, hit the subscribe button, and maybe the like button as well. Drop me a comment. All the regular things you do around here. But most importantly, take a look at some of the other videos I've done. You can see that I do love this sort of topic, any sort of alternate investment, real estate especially, I am very interested in. And I love the fact now we are sort of crowdfunding our investments to allow anybody to be able to invest from as little as say $100, which I think is a massive bonus to unlock the world of alternate investments to everyone. And with that, I love to spend my time, yeah, that's quite sad to say that really, but I do. I love to spend my time researching all the different types of platforms, apps, services, whatever they might be, that allow you and I to invest in alternative investments and make that more accessible. And that's how I found SmartCrowd. So again, if you're new, you might not have known, but if you're not new, you would see my video on stake. Stake is one of my favorite ways to invest in property, specifically in Dubai, for as little as, well, you know, $50. It's very, very accessible to anyone. And I've seen them grow and develop as a company, as a product, as an app, and I really like them. And SmartCrowd is pretty much the same sort of thing. And I've dug into them quite a bit, and I actually really do like what I see. Now, let's explain a bit more. Like stake, SmartCrowd allows you to invest in properties from as little as, I think it's about 500 AED, which I think at the current exchange rate, maths, 150 euros, $150, something like that. For the next bit, I'm gonna jump onto the machine to show you what I like about SmartCrowd and what it looks like, so I can share that experience with you. So I've logged in to SmartCrowd and I can see all of the properties available for me to invest in. They currently have 4 different properties that are in their live and ready to invest area. I mean, it's a fairly similar setup to stake. I like the tiles that they use, but I actually really like the information that's shown here. You can see obviously their percentage of funded on each one. You can see the amount of other investors that are currently in there, so that gives you a sense of how much they have each invested in these properties. But you also see there's a couple of different things. It gives you the amount of time remaining to reach their target, gives you a bit more information here. So you see the difference between this one, it's obviously got the studio versus the 2 beds, but more importantly here, it's got the vacant versus rented. And that shows that this shows instant return. So this one is an already rented property, so it already has someone in there. And then we can go down to the sort of returns that you're looking to get. Obviously you get your dividends every month. This is like the standard that you would get anyway. It gives you what you can invest from, again, which is about 500 AED, which I mentioned before, and what their dividend or the return will be. It also gives you the expected return that you will get over that period of time. And these are obviously key things and things that you also get on stake, but I do like the way it lays it out all here. It's very, very transparent. I think transparency here and these sorts of things is incredibly important. You also have this one here as a holiday home, so that one's slightly different. You get the 3 different categories here. The rented, the currently vacant, but I assume that they are intending to rent that one out, and the holiday home, which will be short-term lets there. Now, SmartCrowd started in 2019, so they have been around a little bit longer than stake. So I think that equates to the reason why they have more exited properties. By exited properties, I mean properties that they have sold and returned those proceeds or the money back to the investors that invest in the property in the first place. They comply with all the same financial regulations as stake do, so hopefully that should put you at ease when it comes to investing in properties via SmartCrowd. Like I mentioned with the exited properties, let's take a look at some of the exits they've had and some of the returns that they've brought to their investors. You can see here, these are the 4 exited properties that they have showing on their site. And we'll start at this end because it's one of the lowest. The ROI, return on the investment over that period, was 18.89%. The only thing it doesn't show is, oh, there we go, that was the annualized return. So the annualized return on that was 5.65%. Then we go through them, we can see that the annualized return on this one was 7.4, 10, and this one was a whopping 29.2% annualized return. So this is a monumental return for your money. And annualized obviously means this is what you get back every year. So it's nearly a 30% return on investment over a year is bonkers. So it looks like they had that for about 18 months. So you can see that they're very transparent, not just about how to invest and what your projected returns are. They're very transparent in what they have sold and what they have returned to the investors as well, which is a big plus for me, because transparency with these things is one of the key things that irks me if a platform and product does not have true, clear transparency. And we're talking about returns, so one of the things I equally love about their site is they have a returns calculator. So it's an investment calculator that goes into the details of, if you invest this much, what's the projected, so you can put that in and it gives you a full breakdown on dividends versus property appreciation prices. So let's just take a quick look at that. So here we have their investment calculator. I'm going to put in, say, 10,000 AED, and over that time, 7 seems to be the general rule of thumb for their percentage dividends, and okay, we'll go for 2%. I don't know what the appreciation tends to be, but the example was 2%. So it'll give you an example over that 5-year holding period, what you're likely to get as a return over that time. So that means that you should get the return of these things. So on that, you nearly get 1,000, it's 900, because it works out to 9%, right? This is why I did the 10,000, because 7 plus 2 is 9, so 9%, so it roughly works in that way. So if we did 3%, we'd get 10%. Oops. If we did 3%, we would get 1,000 back on our 10,000. So over that whole period, it gives you a breakdown of what you would get back based on your amount that you invested, which I think is pretty good. Again, for me, all these feed into that kind of transparency to make it as easy as possible for you to understand what the possibilities are. Obviously, none of this is guaranteed. This isn't financial advice, and this is not guaranteed. All money is at risk with anything, any type of investments. But when it comes to the transparency of the projected returns, the potential returns, based on the historical facts that they've had and their exits, this helps me and you guys as investors put your minds at ease when it comes to parting with your money and putting something down. If you're going to put something down in something, you want to feel like you understand what the potential returns are going to be. No one likes disappointment, unlike the stock market this year. When it comes to selling the properties or exiting the properties, it happens much in the same way as state does, but you have different options here and slightly improved options. So you have the vote to sell. So normally at the end of the appreciation period, they do recommend 5 years for obvious reasons. These aren't short-term things, they're long-term investments, as I've mentioned many times. So you have the vote to sell at the end of your appreciation period, that 5 years, for market value. However, this can be called sooner should they get a very good offer. As we saw in the exits, one of those was an incredibly good offer after only 18 months. That was their biggest return. So that vote to sell was obviously a good thing to do at that time for that example. The second option you have is the transfer of share facility. So if you would like to liquidate your position, you have the ability to sell your shares or transfer your shares on their transfer of shares facility. However, that transfer of shares ability is only open for 2 weeks every 6 months, so March and September. This is to optimize the best time to sell and to make it so it's not a free-for-all all the time. When it comes to their fees, SmartCrowd charges a 1.5% upfront fee when you purchase and a 2.5% fee when you exit the property. And similarly to Stake, they also charge a 0.5% yearly management fee just to cover all of their costs. So none of this really stands out as anything particularly bad. It sounds like very much standard. However, Stake do take a higher percentage when it comes to the exit. So SmartCrowd are actually cheaper in this instance. How are the investments structured? Well, it seems that very much all of the companies doing this, whether it's in the States, whether it's in the UAE and Dubai, they're done in very much the same way. They're issued into a SPV, so a special purpose vehicle, so a company that looks after this and is issued as shares to the investors. So this special purpose vehicle owns the property. Everyone who invests has shares in this special purpose vehicle, which is used to facilitate this whole transaction and investment, which is what every company does. So it's no different, exactly the same. which for me I think is a good thing. Now I like a bit of diversification and I like to try different platforms, so would I recommend this? I'm going to give it a go. I'm going to chuck some money in there. If you want to do the same, much like Stake, you can get a free 250 AED, $68, whatever it is at the time of exchange, just by using realtalk.business/SmartCrowd. So if you would like to invest, that would probably get you halfway to your first investment, which, why not? It sounds like a good thing to do. They have some really good opportunities. Not saying that I would do this over Stake. Would I do it alongside Stake? Yeah, I would. I think that it gives some potential for some really good returns. Obviously, they don't pick the same properties, so there are lots of opportunities to make some fairly decent returns, especially in this market, and help to diversify my portfolio, which is exactly what I'm trying to do this year. SmartCrowd has both a website and an app, so you can use whichever you want, and if you're an old school person like me, you appreciate the fact that it's not purely app-based and you like a web interface as well, because that's me and that's what I like. If you're interested in using SmartCrowd, like I said before, you can just use my link, realtalk.business/SmartCrowd, to get 250 AED or $68 off your first investment, which is a really, really good deal, I'm not gonna lie. Otherwise, if you like this, don't forget to like, subscribe, drop me a comment, all of those things, share it with your nan, and I will see you on the next one. Peace!